restored it. And I think you restored it to an unpatched site? No? Okay, well, you failed to patch your domain controller, and so that's why. But most teams were pretty good about patching. And so patching was about the only attack vector, really, that we had coming into your systems. Because once you were all patched, I mean, hacking is not black magic, voodoo, whatever, right? If you've got patch systems, even if you've got services exposed that you shouldn't have, which a lot of you did, some of you were really good about your access controls and trying to prevent that, but a lot of teams still had everything exposed, but it was patched. So unless we were going to drop some ODAs on you, which we're not, because I would just sell them instead.
There was one.
Oh, well, yes, there was. There was one ODA, not quite an ODA, but the newest Apache, or Adobe vulnerability, which I can't believe there's more of them. So that was the PDF that we sent, but I don't think anybody actually opened. Did anybody actually open that PDF? No, unfortunately for us, you were using Word docs for all your injects, so sending you a PDF didn't do any good. But even if you had a fully patched system, it would have affected you. So that's one thing. But so yes, going back to it, so you had a patch, and that was about our only attack vector. You were using consumer off-the-shelf website, web content management system. So that had some vulnerabilities in it, but not in your particular implementation. So you were safe there, unless we were going to audit a bunch of third-party code. You didn't have any custom services. You didn't have any custom web code. I mean, really, we couldn't do much. So I heard a lot of blaming on us, but actually that was you. So that's something to think about, I guess. Like, this particular type of environment will make you super paranoid that the red team is trying to screw you, right? And so that's definitely something that you want to take note of. Is you want to look at it from, take a step back, say, okay, well, maybe this isn't the red team, maybe this is being caused by something else. Let's take a look at it. Let's look at it logically instead of screaming and pulling the fire alarm and whatever. Which also, hey, somebody asked me about the root dance earlier when we came in. I came in the rooms and did the root dance because that was a lie. We didn't have root at all. So I was just messing with you. But that pretty much became the goal. After our attack surface was taken way down and we had no way into networks, we were just like, all right, well, how can we mess with them as much as possible? So that's what that was about. And like pressing our faces up against the glass. It would be funny because you do that, you smash your face against, and then you see all the people like looking at you funny and turning their monitors away. And so that was fun. But yeah, like I said, the attack vectors were way down. So we didn't have too much in that sense. Let's see. We did, however, every team did our fake inject that we sent to your email accounts, which, yes.
Which inject was that?
We asked you to add a user to your domain. Yeah, honestly, I don't know exactly what it was, but it was something like that, right?
Is the one with the fake email? Because we actually got approval not to do that inject.
Okay. Okay. Well, good for you. I was informed that every team had done it. So good job. Checking because we registered Mr. White PRCDCC instead of CCDC, right? And so nobody caught that except those guys apparently. So good job, team one. Good job, team one. So yes, that's something you want to verify. Let's see. Yeah, access control. There were 2 teams that did that pretty well, it looked like. I think Team 5 did a really good job on that. Team 5, yes, your ACLs were great. Were you doing exfiltration too? Yeah, were you doing exfiltration too? Because we pre-rootkitted your workstation machines, some of them. So we had them calling shells back to us. But were you stopping that or not? Or was it just down? Did you just turn off your workstations, you cheaters? No, both? Okay, yeah, so that was great. 4 did pretty good on their exfiltration. I don't know who 4 is. You guys? Yeah, or on your ACLs. And I think that's about it. I don't know. If other teams did it, we maybe, yes?
Question, did anybody actually pick the red pill?
Yeah, did anybody actually pick the red pill? Or did you guys just hit revert on your VMs as soon as the matrix screen came up? You picked blue pill? All right. What? You just closed it. You never got it. Okay, yes, because you weren't calling home. So we never got a call back from you guys. But yes, we had it. So the rootkit that we put on your systems was custom written by Chris over there. You can raise your hand if you want, or just put your head on the table so nobody knows who you are. So yeah, and there was a little matrixy thing that made you pick the red pill or the blue pill. We thought it'd be fun for the competition. So that would have been stopped by exfiltration ACLs. So let's see here. The other thing I want to talk about is the white team inject that we got them to give you. So it was a legit inject, but it was putting FTP, running an anonymous FTP server, which is totally not fair for you guys, but we were really bored with not having an attack surface. So we said, hey, do something so we can just completely screw them. So we put, so you had anonymous FTP, which we uploaded 6 gigs to some teams, and one thing that the inject said, I think it stated that you had to put it on your domain controller. Was that true? Or did it just say run an FTP server? If it just said run an FTP server, shame, shame, shame on all of you teams who put an anonymous FTP server on your domain controllers or mail servers or whatever, when you've got like Ubuntu workstation machines sitting there pretty much doing nothing. You could have put that on a different system and putting it on mission critical.
They made us authenticate with the PDC, so we had to put it on one of the Windows boxes.
There are ways around.
That would have gradually resolving the entire dependency tree.
Hey, what? You didn't have enough time for that? I don't know what the complaint is. No, yes, so that's just something to think about. I mean, it wasn't like a, dock on 50,000 points if they did this, but, just something to keep in mind. If you're asked to do something stupid, first off, double check with your boss, and he'll probably say, do it anyway because I said so. And if he does, then you want to mitigate that in any way possible. Like, I don't think anybody put file upload limits on their FTP or max number connections or anything like that. You just put them up. Yep.
We put max number.
You did? Okay. So yeah, that's something to think about. Let's see. Anything you want to add that I didn't mention so far, and then we'll switch to questions? Okay, so I guess we'll just open it straight up. Anybody can ask questions. Yo! I think we used the... Yeah. Sorry, okay, yes, sorry, that's a good point. I will do that. He asked what patch they were missing on your domain controller, .5?
Yeah, you were missing, so you were missing the MS0867 patch for the server service.
That's the configure bug, right?
Yeah, it's what the configure bug used. It was originally put out as an ODE, and then later configure used it. But basically, that gives you system level privileges on the box. I mean, yeah, I know we played quite the game for a while. Yeah, that's all we had, so we were messing with you. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. If you had Windows Update, you'd been alright. Okay, anybody questions? Yep.
One of our Windows consoles died after lunch, and by died I mean distribution let us. Was that your guys' doing, or was that just us tripping on our feet?
Can you repeat it a little louder?
Okay, so he said after lunch on the first day or today?
Today.
Today. After lunch today, one of your Windows consoles you couldn't log into, that was you. Yep, we didn't do that, sorry. Oh, and the physical access this morning that you guys may or may not have been super worried about, yeah, we didn't do anything there either, so that was just a mind game. We ran around in your stuff and whatever, but yes, okay. Back there. 10.10.4.71. Oh yes, when you guys you were all worried about what was going on. Yeah, that particular traffic I think was an Nmap scan from one of the Red Team Bone guys going on at that time. That was his IP address, but he said that all he was doing was Nmap you at that point. So
We have logs.
you can agree or disagree, but if you don't have proof, especially, nobody's going to believe you over a Boeing guy. Yes, okay, yeah, go ahead.
So, our servers were unexpectedly shut down last night. Did you power cycle or shut them?
Your servers were unexpectedly shut down last night? That wouldn't have been us. No.
No, that was us.
We didn't do that.
Huh?
We power cycled all the machines.
Yeah, you did.
We power cycled them in the morning, yeah. Oh, sorry, I thought you meant, okay, yeah, no. We came in the morning and some teams had shut off their computers, and some teams hadn't, but yeah, that was our physical access, sorry, I lied. We didn't do nothing, we power cycled all the machines, that's it. So, yes?
You have two tools
Sure. I guess, okay, so,
Question.
what? Oh, sorry, repeat the question. I'm bad at that. He asked, we asked what were some two, and he asked two specifically, about what some tools that we used.
Other than that, which you've already mentioned.
Yes, other than Nmap. Well, to be honest, let's see. Most of your stuff was off the shelf, patching again, like I said. So you had the traditional Windows RPCDCom vulnerability that Metasploit can pop super easy. So
Metasploit, Nessus is our primary scanner. We're open VAS, so those are open source tools that you can use for scanning. Metasploit helps you actually exploit.
But I mean, pretty much, like, go to insecure.org. It's got like the top 100 security tools or something like that. Pretty much just go down that list, and that's what we use, I guess. We don't. I mean, a few people even before the contest asked, "Oh, are you guys going to use? You're not going to use Core Impact, are you?" Like, I don't know, expecting because it's some big expensive piece of software that it would do voodoo magic, but no, we're poor, so we don't have that.
Really, if you're going to be testing your own software, or you're trying to simulate this sort of event against the corporate environment, there's really three tools: Nmap, Nessus, which you would need to buy a license for if you have more than 250 machines, and Metasploit. I mean, those three tools will get you pretty much everything we have.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. But again, if you wouldn't have had custom or off-the-shelf stuff, like last year for the Red Team, we used a lot of, we just did it by hand because you guys had custom PHP code running, and so the scans will tell you some, but it's not, I mean, scanners aren't foolproof, right? They come up with false positives and false negatives. So a lot of, me personally, and I think I can speak for my guys on this, we just do it by hand. And I think that's probably, if you're looking to learn, that's the way to go, is to do it by hand. And it's slow, but you learn a lot more doing it that way. And then when you run the automated tools, you get good with them, then it can be, lickety split snap. But where your tools are going to fall lacking, that's when you need to come up with your own personal experience. And I mean, if you understand how a tool works, then you can make up for the gaps in the tool with your own knowledge. So, yes. Who was Jack Bauer?
That was
NCIS?
That was Mike. Here in the back. Stand up, Mikey.
I don't even know what that means. So, user that logged into your machine remotely, Jack Bauer? Friendly guy. He's just trying to stop terrorism. Okay, yes?
So, would it be fair to say that, I mean, you mentioned earlier, Nmap, Nessus, Metasploit are pretty solid tools to have knowledge of. Is that actually what you would use in the, in the active field, in the real world, or are there proprietary tools that you would use as penetration testers?
So he asked if Nmap, Metasploit, all those tools are what you actually use in the field. And I think it varies a lot from person to person. Some people like to write their own custom tools. And if you do that, like I said, if you know how a tool works, that's going to be much better benefit to you than just knowing how to use a tool, right? Yeah, honestly, it's just those tools. That's what I use anyway. I don't know. I don't know if the big expensive ones give you more or not, but works for me so far. So.
Backtrack 4 is pretty much the standard, and it's got most of the common tools out there. Other than
I don't think there's anything you can't do with Backtrack and some ingenuity that you can do with one of the power tools.
Custom development, I mean, there's a lot you can do there, but most of the stuff that people are using is Backtrack.
Something else I want to note, I guess, from a Red Team perspective is we were guilty of this when we were a team our first year. Is we were concentrated much more on security and lockdown than we were on the business side of this whole endeavor, right? I mean, you come into this event and it's supposed to represent a business. You're supposed to be the IT for this business. So you're supposed to have users that you're going to support. So just shutting off, for example, just powering off your workstation machines and not even thinking about them anymore, you can't do that in a business because you're going to have employees that need to check their email, that need to use whatever. And so it's easy to sway that way. I know personally, from personal experience, it's easy to sway that way. We're like, yeah, screw the users. They don't know anything, and they're downloading malware and stuff. But I mean, in a real world situation, you're going to have users that are going to download and click on malware. And that's why, for example, we pre-rootkitted your workstation machines because we wanted you to be able to identify, unwanted traffic and see if you can figure out where it's coming from and try and clean it or do something. And I don't know if anybody even saw, did anybody even see external communication coming back to us? Port 8080 is what it was talking to us on. So if you saw that traffic, that was our rootkit on your systems, talking back to us. So that's something you got to think about when you're coming into the network. You want to figure out what traffic you should have and what you shouldn't, and what is unexpected. And so port 8080 coming out may or may not be valid traffic. So you might want to think about that when you're coming into an unknown environment or just day-to-day looking at stuff. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly what kind of one that was, but it's a business and you got to treat it that way. And security and usability are always button heads, right? It's a constant battle. So balancing that is part of the competition. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I think you all did a fantastic job, especially dealing with our PSYOP stupidness. You guys did a pretty good job not letting me in the room and giving me dagger eyes when I did the root dance. You didn't think that was funny? That wasn't even funny at all. Man, I was like, geez. If looks could kill, the root dance? That's what you have to do. If you get root access, for future reference, you guys become pen testers or something, you get root access, you have to do the root dance. That's a rule. But okay, so that's it. Good job to all the teams. Fabulous job for all the teams. And I hope you guys had lots of fun. I know when we came here and we did this, we learned a ton. It's much better to have your hands on, getting dirty, getting into it, experiencing actual attacks, even though we didn't really do all much. But getting into it, I learned a lot. I hope you guys did too. And thank you very much for the opportunity to own your faces. Okay.